Good morning, all. So I'll be taking the continued part of this spotters and slides discussion. So in the last class, we had some solid dosage forms, liquid dosage forms. Today I'll start with slide number 15, that is omeprazole. Yes, roll number 1 to 10. Can anyone tell me what is the other name for the proton pump inhibitors? Roll number 1 to 10. Okay, roll number 10. Can you tell me what is the other name for proton pump inhibitors?
Don't know, sir.
Okay. So in the exams, you may get this in Viva. Okay. So Viva, what happens is we'll be having the tray with a lot of drugs. So they will ask you what is the other name for proton pump inhibitors, or what is the name by which these proton pump inhibitors are known. So the first point here we should know is proton pump inhibitors. They have the name which you can never forget, like omeprazole, pantoprazole, rabiprazole, all these things. So all these are ending with azole. So what we should not confuse is, so there is some other group of drug which also sounds like this. That is fluconazole, miconazole, all those things. So they are antifungal drugs. Okay, so they are antifungal drugs. So we should not confuse these antifungal drugs with the proton pump inhibitors. That should be your first point. Okay. So tomorrow in place of this omeprazole, they may give you fluconazole, miconazole, all those things. We should not confuse with them. So there are three groups of drugs which are sounding similar. Okay. So one is the proton pump inhibitors, that is omeprazole, lansoprazole, pantoprazole, all these group of drugs. Another is the antifungal drugs, that is fluconazole, miconazole, cetaconazole, all those group of drugs. So one more group of drug is there, that is anti-amoebic drugs, that is metronidazole, all those things, metronidazole, tinidazole, all these group of drugs. So pharmacology itself is like that. Okay, we should be remembering these zoles is there in three group of drugs. Okay, so which zole is there? You should, if you carefully analyze the classification, you will get to know. So don't write antifungal drugs, anti-amoebic drugs for this omeprazole. Okay, so you should not confuse. Actually, these ZOLE is there with three group of drugs. One is proton pump inhibitors, that is omeprazole, lansoprazole, and all. Next one is antifungal drugs, where you have metronidazole, ketoconazole, all those things. Then one more group of drug is anti-amoebic drugs, that is metronidazole and all. So this is this is in brief regarding the omeprazole. So proton pump inhibitors per se, they can be called as hit and run drugs. That means the drug will go to the site of action, they bring about some enzymatic changes and run away from the scenario. So they are called as hit and run drugs. And one more they have is suicidal inhibitors. Okay, so this proton pump inhibitors are also having the property of suicidal inhibitors. That means once they bind to the receptor there and can produce conformation changes, their action is over or the drug gets disseminated. So that's why they are also called as suicidal inhibitors sometimes, and they are also called as hit and run drugs. So where do we use this drug? Omeprazole, it is used in peptic ulcer, gastroesophageal reflux disease, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. So the next drug is doxycycline. Yes. Roll number 20 is there.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Have you heard this doxycycline? Yes. Have you heard this doxycycline term?
Don't remember, sir.
Okay. So this drug has got new prominence because this drug is now tried for COVID infections. Okay, so doxycycline now is given as a first line drug in COVID infection and is told to have some anti-coronavirus property. This drug is given 100 milligram 2 times daily for 5 days. Doxycycline. Otherwise, doxycycline belongs to a group of drugs called as tetracycline. So tetracycline acts by inhibiting the 30S ribosome. They are primarily protein synthesis inhibitors. They are also called as broad spectrum antibiotics. Tetracyclines and chloramphenicol are called as broad spectrum antibiotics. So this broad spectrum antibiotic act by protein synthesis inhibitors. So all the protein synthesis inhibitors are bacteriostatic drugs. Okay, all the protein synthesis inhibitors drugs are bacteriostatic drugs. But here in out of newly gained prominence, they are shown to be having this antiviral properties. Okay, so what are the two important advantages? It can be given in renal failure patient, and most of the time it is a part of this empirical treatment. So they can ask you what are the drugs which can be used in empirical treatment. Your answer should be among the broad spectrum antibiotics we can use doxycycline. Doxycycline is the longest acting tetracycline drug. Among the tetracycline group, doxycycline can act for almost 1 day. So what are the main disadvantages of this doxycycline or tetracycline group? In the exams, if the examiner will have three of drugs and he will ask you the what are the main advantages, disadvantages like that. So advantages being a broad spectrum drug, it can be used for rickettsial disease, brucellosis, plague, all these conditions we are using this doxycycline. What are the demerits? Demerits is it is chelated by milk. These tetracycline antibiotics are chelated by milk, so it should not be used along with milk. That is the one cautious point. Second point is if these tetracyclines are used in younger age or children, there is chances of yellowish discoloration of teeth or toxicity of the oral system. So this discoloration of the teeth is classical feature of this tetracycline growth. No other drugs cause this discoloration of this teeth, and it is almost permanent. So we should be careful while using this drug in pediatric population. Next adverse effect is phototoxicity. So doxycycline the person when he goes out after administration of doxycycline, he may develop photosensitivity reactions. So these are the demerits of this broad spectrum antibiotics. So coming to the next group, that is ciprofloxacin. Ciprofloxacin belongs to a group called as fluoroquinolones. Remember, these are the fluoroquinolones are the most commonly used antibiotics in for 1 decade at least. So now the patients are developed resistant to this ciprofloxacin, which is fluoroquinolone. So now they are using the next generation one, that is ofloxacin. So the ciprofloxacin stood as a long-standing drug for treatment of treatment of the typhoid or enteric fever. How does it act? It acts by inhibiting the bacterial DNA guidance. Yes, roll number 15 is there with us. 15 is there.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is it?
No,
Can
sir.
you read?
50.
You are 15. Okay.
Yes, sir.
15 is there. 15 is there. Okay. 16 is there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you read out the slide?
Ethambutol. Write the indications. Write the indications of its combinations
Yes. It is.
used in a pulmonary TB.
Okay. So the combination of the drugs which we use in TB, do you remember? It is HRZE. Okay. HRZE is INH, rifampicin, ethambutol, and pyrazinamide. Okay. So the adverse effect here is perioptic neuritis with ethambutol. So the next drug is isoniazid. So we just discussed what is HRZE. So among the HRZE, one drug is isoniazid, which is metabolized by acetylation. So acetylation, isoniazid, the popular question is who all are slow acetylators, who all are fast acetylators. Slow acetylators, we get peripheral neuritis. Fast acetylators, we get hepatitis. Okay, that is related to gene polymorphism or drug polymorphism. Here it is used for pulmonary tuberculosis and tubercular meningitis. So the next drug here is salbutamol, most commonly used drug for the bronchial asthma. So beta adrenergic receptor activity. Here it is an adrenergic drug which can be used for bronchodilation, bronchial asthma, acute exacerbation of bronchial asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Almost all the respiratory disease, we give it either in the form of syrup or nebulization. So coming to the next drug, that is adrenaline. So adrenaline here, very important point we should remember is 1 milligram contains 1:1000. That means 1 gram in 1000 ml of water. Okay, like is like that. So now this is 1:1000, which is used for anaphylactic shock. 1:20,000 is used for nasal packing. For example, when you are doing some surgery, oropharyngeal surgeries are done. If there is a bleeding point there and the nose is bleeding, we use this adrenaline in the strength of 1:20,000 for nasal packing to prevent epistaxis and all. Okay. Then we have the strength 1:1 lakh, which is used along with local anesthesia for local infiltration, so that when a lacerated wound is there on the skin, on the limbs and all, we use this adrenaline along with local anesthetic. There the strength is 1:1 lakh. So all the students should remember, but the strength which is used for anaphylactic shock is 1:1000. The strength which is used for epistaxis or anterior nasal packing is 1:20,000. And the strength which is used to combine with local anesthesia is 1:1 lakh or 1:2 lakhs. Okay, so it is used in cardiac arrest, anaphylaxis, and bronchial asthma in the ratio of 1:1000 is used for all this purpose. Route of administration for anaphylactic shock is intramuscular. Coming to the next drug, that is atropine. Atropine is a anticholinergic drug. Okay, so it is most important drug which is forming the primary treatment for organophosphorus poisoning. It can be used as a pre-anesthetic medication. Okay, so it can be used for glaucoma, but we are not using it. Actually, this mydriatics are contraindicated in glaucoma. We use the precursor of this adrenaline, tryptophan, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, meiotic agents are used. So lignocaine, it is a local anesthetic agent used in cardiac arrhythmias. So I have told some points about this lignocaine. Lignocaine is a local anesthetic agent. They act by inhibiting the sodium channels. So So coming to the next drug, ampicillin, belongs to aminopenicillin. So broadly, penicillins are the bactericidal drugs because they are cell wall synthesis inhibitors. So penicillin group of drugs are bactericidal drugs because they are cell wall synthesis inhibitor drugs. Among them, we have aminopenicillins, that is ampicillin and amoxicillin, which are gastro-resistant drugs. Remember, ampicillin and amoxicillin belonging to aminopenicillins are gastro-resistant, or they are can be given orally. Where we are using this, they are used for upper respiratory tract infection and gingival abscess. Coming to the next drug, ranitidine, which is a H2 receptor blocker. Remember, ranitidine or Zintac is now avoided, or we are still with controversy regarding this drug as a culprit for causing bladder cancer. Okay, so presently the drug is withdrawn from all the popular companies, but now some companies are still having this drug in the injection forms, and we are yet to know its status, what to do next. So ranitidine, otherwise it is a drug which was used for more than 20 years for gastric acidity, and a low cost drug which has served many patients. So it is used for peptic ulcer and stress ulcers. Coming to the next drug, that is H1 antihistamine. Previous drug was H2 antihistamine. It was cetirizine is H1 antihistamine. So H1 antihistamine is used for this rhinitis urticaria and all. So H1 antihistamines, we have this first generation, second generation, and third generation drugs. So the first second generation drugs were pheneramine, chlorpheniramine, malimate, all these things. And these the first generation drugs were shorter acting drugs and more sedating drugs, and more extra side effects were there. The new generation cetirizine or levocetirizine drugs are longer acting drugs and lesser side effects related to other receptor action. For example, the first generation drugs have action on the serotonin receptors and all. But this later generation drugs, which are longer acting, that is H1 antihistamines belonging to third generation drugs, are lesser side effects, lesser sedative, long acting. Coming to the next drug, that is furosemide. It is a high ceiling diuretic. Okay, it is a drug with high potential to cause diuresis. So diuretics can be classified as high potency drugs. Among these high potency drugs, we have this high ceiling diuretics or loop diuretics. Okay, furosemide is called as high ceiling diuretics or loop diuretics. So it is used for acute pulmonary edema and cerebral edema. Next drug is this metronidazole. We told that all zoles are not the anti proton pump inhibitors. Metronidazole is an anti-amoebic drugs. Therapeutic use is anaerobic infection and amoebiasis. The very important side effects is metallic taste and abdominal discomfort. So most of the time, female with urinary tract infection due to Gardnerella and other bacteria. So we commonly use this metronidazole, very cheaply available drug. So the next drug is diclofenac sodium. It belongs to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, which is used as an analgesic drug. Diclofenac is used in joint pains because it gains high concentration in the joints. Adverse effect is gastritis and allergy. So these are all the drugs you should know. If you have any doubts, you can post me back the doubts. Okay, so we have completed most of these uses. So I just take attendance. Please wait for me.